Okay, good morning and welcome back. So hopefully everybody had a good weekend. And all right, so we only got a few more meetings. Um, let's see. All right, so the only assignment that's due today is this one because I didn't do class on Wednesday. And so we're going to do example 10.2 today. So the only class or the only assignment you're going to make sure you have in today is the one we did last Monday, which is the Intro to Simulation Models. Okay, so this one's due today, and that's the only assignment due today. And I also last week I updated all the homework grades, and you should have a homework assignment grade for all of these assignments up to this one, which is due today. So you can check those and let me know if you have any questions there. Okay, and so we only have a few more assignments. We have this one, example 10.2 today. We'll do this simulations extra credit one on Wednesday. So I'd recommend coming on Wednesday because I think this one is worth 2 points, if I'm not mistaken. And then we'll do some review stuff for the final next week. So we only have I guess four total more meetings, and we'll get the final exam, the take-home final exam talked about next week. Okay, so today what I want to do is continue doing the simulation stuff and the probability distributions that we started last week. And let's do an example 10.2. Okay. Okay, so if you go to example 10.2, we have there's three different files, but it's just one assignment. So you can open up the example 10.2 Word document, and then the first one we're going to do is the ordering calendars Excel only one. Okay, so open up those two, and we'll get to the other stuff later. So this one, I think, I have a description. So this is in our textbook. Um, this is example 10.2, but here this is the older version, but I think it's the same synopsis basically. So what we're doing here is in August, Walton Bookstore must decide how many of next year's nature calendars to order. Uh, each calendar costs the bookstore $7.50 and sells for $10. After February 1st, all unsold calendars. So this is we did something like this last uh, Monday, but we're gonna do some other stuff on it. And so the same little synopsis. So each calendar sells cost the bookstore $7.50 and sells for $10. And then after February 1st, all unsold calendars will be returned to the publisher for a refund of $2.50. All right. And so Walton believes the number of calendars it can sell by February 1st follows the probability distribution shown in table 10.1, or here it's 11.1, but for us it's 10.2 or something. And Walton wants to develop a simulation model to help it decide how many calendars to order. So we have this probability distribution, and we're going to look at it from a few different approaches. So this you should see an example or the ordering calendars Excel file. Okay, that's right there. And so if you open up the ordering calendars Excel only one, you'll see those pieces of information that we just read through. The unit cost per calendar, the price we're selling it at, and then the refund. All right. And so we're going to use this probability distribution to do a bunch of analyses here. So we're simplifying to assume that demand is one of these five things, if you recall, and the associated probabilities next to it. So demand is either going to be 100, 150, 200, 250, or 300, and the probabilities that those things happen are right there. So these things sum up to one, but the most likely ones are in the middle because it's a normal distribution. So 5% chance is 300, 15% chance it's 250, 30% chance it's 200, 20% chance it's 150, and 30% chance it's 100. So demand's going to be one of those in our simulations, and then the most likely probabilities are going to occur more, but we have to factor in the probabilities. Okay, so if you look at the problem we're doing, so we're going to use simulations, and a few different approaches. So the first one, we're just going to set up a normal simulation, kind of like we did last Monday. And the second exercise, we're going to use a data table to do the simulations. So we'll do the simulations in the data table. And then the last one, we're going to use a two-way data table. So there's multiple ways to use simulations to do these analysis. And I'm going to try to show you those different ways. So we'll manually do the simulations for the first Excel file, and then we'll look at it with doing a one-way data table, and then we'll look at it doing a two-way data table. But we're doing the same. We have the same problem here. We're trying to decide how many calendars to order based on the demand distribution, and that's the goal here. So uh, we're going to do a bunch of simulations and determine how many books, sorry, how many calendars Walton should order. Okay, there's some optional videos. Nice one on probability simulations, and this one shows you some more details on how you can use a data table to do a simulation, but we'll do that together in class. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so example 10.2. So this is, you want to have the ordering calendars Excel only one file open. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we're going to do the inputs, decision variables, and objectives. Okay, and let's do that first. Okay, so the inputs are the unit costs and the unit price and the unit refund. So these are inputs. Okay, you can color those light blue. The demand distribution is also an input because that's set. So we can color that little area light blue. Okay, Walton's deciding how many books to order. So the order quantity, which is B9, cell B9, that's our decision variable range. So you can color that light red. And we're trying to maximize profit, which means that G19 is our objective, and that's the highlight yellow color. Okay, and then let's go ahead and put the proposed order quantity 200 in B9, and we'll work with that to start. So just put a 200 in that red cell. Okay. All right. Okay, step 2. Let's go ahead. And so we're going to set up something called the cumulative probabilities. And when we do when we do like a random number in the simulations, it'll look to this cumulative probability and it'll give us the random number is associated with one of the demand numbers based on its probability. So we're going to set it up so the the one that has like a 30% chance of occurring has 30% of the random numbers and so on. So what we'll do here is let's put a 0 in D5. Okay, so first let's do that. And then we'll put this formula in D6 and copy it down. Okay, so in D5, that's right there. Just put a 0. Okay, and then in D6, put that formula you see in step 2, which is just equals F5 plus D5. All right, then enter. Okay, and then grab this one. Go back to D6 and grab the bottom right corner and drag it down like that. Okay, and you should see these numbers here. So if you did it like I did, you should have a 0 here. In D6, you got a 0.3, 0.5, 0.8, and 0.95. And what we've done here is we've set up a range. So when we do the lookup table, um, the first the first 30 random numbers are going to be associated with 100. All right, so that means that 30% of the numbers give us 100, which is correct because that can occur 30% of the time. So if the random number is between 0 and 0.3, it's going to be the demand reported will be 100. Now, 20% of the numbers, okay, go to 150. So if the random number is between 0.3 and 0.5, demand's going to be 150. All right, see how that works? And then another 30% of the numbers go to 200. So if demand is between 0.5 and 0.8, it's 200. Okay, 15% of the random numbers go to 250. So if the random number is between 0.8 and 0.95, it's 250. And then only 5% of the numbers are 300. So if it's above 0.95, the demand is 300. Okay, so we've used random numbers to quantify the demands based on their probabilities. Okay, so it's a nice little trick where you can just throw in your random number generator to get the numbers you want based on the expected probabilities. Okay, so we got that there. Step 3. All right, let's do we need to do some range names? Oh, we'll just do this. All right, so let's give a range name to D5 and call it lookup table. Or sorry, let's give a range name to D5 to D9, so the whole range, yeah. So we need to name that box up there, lookup table. And so let me show you okay, so you want to select this whole range, starting with D5. Okay, so select all of this. So select D5 to F9, this whole range that you see. And then let's manually call that lookup table up here in the name box. All right, so just call it lookup table up there and then hit enter. Okay, so then just double check when you reselect it, this range, D5 to F9, it should be called lookup table up here in the name box. So you've named this range lookup table. Okay, next thing, just enter this formula equals rand in B19, which is right here. Okay, so all you gotta put here in B19 is equals rand. Okay, and just with the open and close parentheses, so it's a random number with no specified argument, so it's gonna be something between 0 and 1. Okay, and then let's put this formula to get the demand in C19. All right, so we'll put this lookup table, this VLOOKUP function we've used a bunch of times. Let's put that in C19, and then I'll explain how that gives us the demand based on the lookup table and the random number. So this goes in C19. Okay, so in C19, your formula is equals VLOOKUP. Okay, so it's equals VLOOKUP, and then in the parentheses, B19, comma lookup table, comma 2, like that. Okay, and so what it does, all right, equals VLOOKUP, B19 lookup table, comma 2, and make sure your lookup table is highlighting the range you specified. So it's going to go look at the random number, and then it's going to go to the lookup table, all right, and then it's going to give us It's going to go whatever the random number is, whichever range it aligns with. It's going to give us the demand, which is in column two, right? So if you hit enter, see how this it takes the random number, it goes to the lookup table, and it gives us the reported value. In the two means column two, so for demand. So if you hit enter, it's going to be based on your random number, but you can see that 0.02 is in the first range, so that's going to give us a demand of 100. So whatever the random number is, it's going to give us the demand associated with that. So you're going to get one of these numbers here based on your random number. All right. And if you want, you could. It's easier to see the numbers if you take away some of the decimals for the random number generator. So if you want to go to B19 and just hit the uh, up on the home tab, you can hit the decrease decimal button until you get to 2.
I have a problem. All my numbers for row D
Yeah.
are 0.
Okay, so you might have just copied the first one, is my guess. So you mean up here?
Yes.
Okay, so this one should be 0, and this one should be equals F5 plus D5. Is that what yours says?
I think that's where I messed up.
Yeah, so let's
I
fix that.
just put it in the wrong one.
Oh, all right. So yeah, put equals F5 plus D5 here,
Okay.
and then when you enter that, then just go back to that one, D6, and
Yeah.
grab the bottom right corner and drag it down. So yeah, start with the second one, not yet. So if you
Yeah, I got it. I got it now. Thank you. I don't have the order quantity though either.
oh, just type that in. Just type it in.
Okay, just type that in. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
Okay. All right. So everyone else good so far? We got everything up to demand here. Okay. So in step 3, we set up the lookup table. We set up the random number, and then we set up how we get the demand based on the lookup table and the random number. Okay. So in step 4, we're going to calculate the revenue. So let's first give a range name for unit price and order quantity. And since the unit cost is there too, we can just do that as well. All right. So go ahead and just make a range name um, for all the cost data up here. So if you want to do this and select A4 to B6, and then Formulas tab, create from selection, left column, okay, all right, and so that's unit cost, that's unit price, and that's unit refund. Okay, and while we're here, let's just go ahead and make a range name for the decision variable, which is, you can just select A9 to B9. Okay, formulas, create from selection, left column, okay. Okay, so we've just made a few. If you're under Formulas tab and hit the Name Manager, just double check that you've got the lookup table, the order quantity, the unit cost, the unit price, and the unit refund. Okay, so in step 4, let's calculate revenue. Just put this formula in D19. Okay, D19 is right down here, equals. Okay, so this formula should be familiar. We've done this with a bunch of these lookup tables where you get a refund where you get a revenue and your refund and your cost. So it's equals unit price times min function, then C19, comma order quantity. All right, equals unit price times min, and then in the parentheses, C19, comma order quantity. And what this does, remember, is this is the price we get per book, and whichever is smaller, we get the revenue from that number. So if uh, if we order less than demand, right, we can only sell what we order. Or if demand is less than what we order, we can only sell what demand is. So whichever of the two numbers is lower, we multiply that times the unit price. And so in this case, the revenue is 2,000 because there's, right, so this will be based on your random number, so your demand might be different, but let me explain what this one means. Since order quantity and demand are the same, right, they're both the same. So it's the revenue is going to be 200 times 10, which is 2,000. So whichever this number and that number are the lowest, multiply that number times 10, because that's all, you can only sell that amount. Okay, and so again, your revenue, it might be different because everything is determined by this random number. So if your random number is in a different range, your demand's going to be different, your revenue is going to be different, but that's okay. Okay, so step 5 in ordering cost, we already did that, and let's put this formula into E19 for ordering cost. Okay, in E19 it's just equals cost. Okay, equals unit cost times order quantity. Okay, and that's pretty simple. We order 200. It costs us 750 per calendar. So 200 times 750, everybody should get 1,500 here. Now we need to calculate the refund, if any. So for the refund, put that formula in F19. Okay, so equals. So equals unit refund times max, and then in the parentheses, order quantity minus C19, comma 0. Okay, so remember what this does is the unit refund is 250 if we order too many. So whichever number is bigger is what the value is. So if the order quantity minus the demand is like if we order too many, then we get a refund of the extra amount times 250. So if we order too many, we get a refund of 250 per book. Otherwise, we get 0. Okay, so see how in my example, this is 200 and demand is 200, so there's no extra books ordered. This is equal to this, so refund is 0. So you only get a refund if demand is less than the order quantity. All right, and then profit, let's just put that formula into G19. Okay, in the yellow cell equals, Okay, equals D19 plus F19 minus E19. All right, so the profit is just revenue plus a refund, if any, and then minus cost. Okay, and why don't we go ahead and make put dollar signs on these ones? So if you want to select uh, D19 to G19 and just change the format to currency. Okay, home tab, format, format cells, and just change the category to currency. And let's have 0 decimals with the dollar sign. Make it easy. There we go. All right, so we've got the random number generator, the demand based on that. We got the revenue, we got the cost, we got the refund, and we got the profit. Okay, so if we've got this, we've basically set up the first simulation, and we're just going to we're going to copy everything to make a bunch more simulations. So step 8. All right, let's number the replications 1 through 1,000 in A19 to A1018. All right, so in A19, this is simulation 1. Just type it in, enter. All right, in A20, this is simulation 2. Just type it in, enter. Okay, and then we'll use the Excel shortcut just to count up to 1,000. So all you got to do is select the 1 and the 2. All right, select A19 and A20, and grab the bottom right corner and just drag down and count all the way up to 1,000 like this. Okay, so you should have counted up to 1,000 in this range, A19 all the way to A1018. So you just count it up 1 to 1,000 to notify each simulation. You're going to do it 1,000 times. Okay, and then we're gonna select the range B19 to G19 and copy it all the way down. And we've already changed that. We've already changed that. So we've formatted it correctly. But now we're essentially going to do the simulations manually. Okay. So if you got your random numbers ordered here, 1 through 1,000, go and you got all your calculations here, then all you got to do is select B19 to G19. Okay, so select this whole range for replication 1, and we're just going to, all right, you got this whole thing selected, and then just double click the bottom right corner here. Okay, and what that should do is that should give you 1,000 profit calculations for all your simulations based on the random numbers. Okay, did that work? All right. Okay, what do we do now? Okay, so we've already changed the formatting. All right. So step 9 is to get the summary measures. Um, and so what we can do here is we can make if you make a range name for all the profits, I think this might make it a little easier. So we're going to get in B12 to B15, we're going to get the average standard deviation min and max of the profits. Um, so to make it easier, let's give a range name to the profit range. Okay, so if you click on G18, and if you just do Shift Control down, that'll select the whole range, or just select it. So you want to have selected. Okay, all this. So see how I selected G8, G18 all the way to G1018. So all the yellow numbers are selected, that whole column. Okay, and let's just give it a range name by going to Formulas, Create from Selection, Top Row. Okay, all right, and so we gave that whole range the range name for profit. So this whole yellow cell range should be called profit. Okay, and so now let's just get our summary measures up here. So starting, see where it says summary measures for simulation below in B12. So in B12 equals average of profit. Okay, so just the average of the profit range. Enter. And then the next one, we want the standard deviation of profit. So it's equals um, that one, the STDEV, standard deviation of profit. Okay, enter. And then we want the max, or we want the min and the max. So in this one, B14, it's equals min of profit. And then this one, B15, it's equals max of profit. Okay, so you've got, see how we've got the average profit here. We've got the standard deviation of profit here. We've got the min profit here. And we got the max profit here. Now, because the simulation is based on random numbers, your average profit and your standard deviation are going to be different, but everyone should have the same min profit of negative 250, and everyone should have the same max profit of 500. So these two numbers should be exactly as mine, but these are going to be different because it's based on the random numbers. Okay, so we got that.
Wait, Professor?
Yes.
I have a different maximum and minimum profit.
Hmm. Okay, so let's see. Is your min selecting this whole range like that?
Yeah.
And so with well, I'll have to do you want to post it? Let me take a look.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so you've got much higher profits than that. Let's see. Oh, okay. So it's just that I think you just missed you. One of these should be a minus sign, so you're paying yourself the cost instead of subtracting it. So I think everything else is right, but we can fix it easily. Raymond, all you got to do is go to uh, what is this? G19, and this formula should be equals D19 plus F19 minus E19. So you got to subtract the cost. All right. So just fix that first one. G19 equals D19 plus F19 minus E19. Enter, and then just click on that one, G19, and double click the bottom right corner like that, and that should do it.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Thank you.
did that work? Yeah, and you got your correct values up. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. Okay. Next step. Okay, we're going to set up a little table to get the distribution of simulated profits, and so we're going to set this up like figure 10.26, and I'll just show you what to do. If you look at mine, so let's do this first. All right, so let's give a name here. Let's go over to okay, so in I-17, let's call this distribution of profit. All right, and if you want, you can make it bold to note that it's a title here. So distribution of profit. Right here in I-18, let's call this value. Okay, in J-18, let's title this frequency. Okay, and then in K-18, this is relative frequency. Okay, and so we'll notice here that we only have three possible values of profit if you scroll through. You can see that your lowest value is negative 250, right? So just type that in here in I-19. Okay, you can see that your middle value is 125. Type that in there, and then the max is 500. All right, so just type those values in here, negative 250 125, and 500. So if you scroll through all the profits, you'll see that depending on your random number, your outcome was either that or that or that. So these are all the possibilities based on this problem. Okay.
I don't have those possibilities. It gives me 0, -500, and -250.
Okay, I might need to, can you post yours? I'll take a look and see if,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so I'll look at yours in a minute. If you're doing this part, okay, we did that. All right, so if you're working on the table here, let's just do one more step before I look at the, so you can put this formula in J19. Okay, so in J19, which is right here, the formula you would like is equals. Okay, equals counteth, and then in the parentheses, profit, comma, I19. So it's going to count how many times you got 250. That's all it's doing here. So it's going to look at the profit range and how many times was your outcome 250. It'll depend on your random numbers, but for me it was 299. And then if you got that, you can grab the bottom right corner and drag it down like this. And then this one will count how many times you got 125. And this one will count how many times you got 500. Okay, and let me. All right, let's see what we got here. Derek. I think this one, so in D19, um, this should be unit price. Yeah. So let's fix this one. I think this might be the only problem. But if you go to D19, it should be equals unit price,
Okay.
not unit cost. Yeah, unit price. Okay, so equals unit price times min C19 order quantity.
Okay.
Okay, and then fix that, and then double click the bottom right corner of D19 like that, and that looks like it'll do it.
Yeah, it did it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so what do we got here? So we've got all right, so you got your distribution of profit title in I-17, you got the value title in I-18, you got frequency in J-18, you got relative frequency in K-18, and put the three possible values you can get of profit, hopefully, which are -250, 125, and 500. And you calculate the relative frequency, right? How many times you got 250, how many times you got 125, and how many times you got 500. And just to confirm that we've done this correctly, because we're going to get different frequencies based on our random numbers, but we should get that all the frequencies cover all the simulations. So if you just take the sum here in J22 equals sum. Okay, equals sum of J19 to J21. Right, you should get that your sum is 1,000. So these numbers are going to be different based on the random numbers, but everyone should get that the sum here is 1,000. All right, so you got to cover all the simulations. So these three numbers have to sum to 1,000. Okay, and then you want to get the relative frequency in the k column by just dividing the frequency by 1,000. All right, so the percent relative frequency. So then our relative frequencies are going to sum to 1. So just go back here. So the relative frequency in K19 is equals J19 divided by 1,000. All right, and then grab that one, grab the bottom right corner of K19 and drag it down like that. And so you got the relative frequency of that one and the relative frequency of that one. And just to confirm we got this, let's go ahead and sum just the easiest way is just click on this one, J22, and drag it over like that. And this range has to sum to 1 because you got to cover all your relative frequencies. So just these numbers here for the frequency and relative frequency are going to be different, but to confirm you're doing it correctly, make sure this is 1,000 and make sure this is 1.
I'm sorry, what was the formula for that relative frequency?
Oh yeah, so just started in K19, it's equals J19 divided by 1,000. Okay, and just drag it down. So then this one should be equals J20 divided by 1,000. This one should be equals J21 divided by 1,000. And then this is just the sum of the range. So this should say equals sum K19 to K21. And your sum here should be 1. Right? So these numbers are going to be different, but they should definitely sum to 1. All right, because you gotta cover 100% of the time. So the outcome's got to be one of these three, and that's what we're confirming here. Okay, so everybody got this, and this is 1,000, and this is 1. That's what we need to check. Okay, so let's see if we can find the best order quantity. So let's set up a data table for average profit versus order quantity, like figure 10.27. So all right, so let's go to M17, which is right there, and let's call this area average profit versus order quantity. Okay, average profit versus order quantity. You can make that bold if you want. And then here in M18, let's call this order quantity. All right, and then in N18, let's call this average profit. Okay, and so here where it says, so this in uh, N19, let's link in the average profit that we calculated. So just in N19, you should put in equals B12. So equals B12. Okay, and then let's number some possible order quantities that we're choosing from, which are going to be 100 to 300 in increments of 25. So starting here in M20, type in 100, and then M21, type in 125. Okay, and then just select the two, M20 to M21, grab the bottom right corner, and just count up to 300. Okay, so in this range, you should have 100 to 300 in increments of 25. So in M20 to M28, you got 100 all the way to 300, right? Okay, and let's do a data table. So select this whole area, M19 to N28, right? And then let's do data tab, uh, what if analysis, data table, and we're going to see how average profit changes with order quantity. So row input cell is blank. The column input cell is, what is it? This one, B9. Okay, so B9 is order quantity, see? All right, so this is blank. This is B9. Hit OK. And if that happened, if it didn't calculate, try this. Formulas tab, and there should be a button there called Calculate Now. There we go.
So, Professor, what's the equation for average profit again?
Oh, so it's just the equals B12. Okay, and so so did this work? Did we get the data table here? Did we get different average profits with the associated order quantities? Yep. All right, so a couple more things for this one. Let's just format the this range. What is it? N20 to N28 to be currency. All right, so select that range and just do Home tab, format cells, and currency. And let's leave the two decimals with the dollar symbol and hit OK. All right, and then last thing, we'll create a cluster column chart of average profit versus order quantity. All right, so that's the last thing here. So go ahead and select actually, let's see this area. Okay, so select M20 to N28, and then with that selected, let's do insert and recommended charts. And that first one is one we want. So you want the clustered column and hit OK. Okay, so we got that. Let's do a little formatting, and then we'll determine what we got here. So click on the plus sign, or go to chart elements. Take away the chart title, and add the axes titles. Okay, so this is average profit. Okay, and this is order quantity. Okay, and remember, if you wanted to um, do it with the Mac, you just click on the chart, and you go to chart design, and you go to add chart element, and you can take away the chart title, and you can add the axes titles there. And maybe let's see if we can. If I click on the chart, there might be a better. Well, let's do this. The only thing I want to do is move the axes titles down so it's not, cluttering there. So we've done this before, but if you click on the x-axis labels like that, and you right-click it, and you hit Format Axes, and on the box over here for Format Axes, you should see Labels. And if you open up the Labels section, you should see Label Position, and you should have the option to change it to Low, like that. Okay, so we've got our chart here of average profit versus order quantities. So these are the possible order quantities, and these are the average profits. Now it's going to be a little bit different based on your random numbers, but you should get something like this. Okay, so we get the chart there. And last thing is the point of this exercise is to try to find what order quantity we should do to get the highest average profit based on these simulations and this demand distribution. Okay, so go ahead and select again N20 to N28, and let's do Home tab, conditional formatting, top bottom rules, top 10, and we want just the top one. So you can hit that until it goes to 1 and hit OK. Okay, so the outcome might be a little bit different based on your simulations, but I've determined that an order quantity of 150 would give us the highest average profit. So instead of 200, it looks like 150 is a better option based on the demand. And you can see that the reason why is because it's more likely that demand is lower than higher. So the big group of demand is this area, right? And so these ones are so overshooting is unlikely to give us a higher profit because of the lower outcomes of going over. So if we go over demand, right, there's a good chance that we're going to mess up. But this whole range is probably our best outcome because this is what demand is probably going to be between 100 and 250. So if we hit the middle based on the probabilities, then it's likely that 150 gives us the highest average profit. And your outcome might be different. You might get a 125 or 175, but your answer for the highest average profit is probably in that range. Okay, so we should order, or my outcome was that I should order 150. Okay, so do we get, and then you can see that on the chart. So that's the highest bar, but it's pretty close. But okay, so we got the chart, and we got you determine your highest average profit with the associated order quantity. Okay, so we're done with this one. Okay, so everyone's got this. I'm going to save it. And this one goes in the discussion forum. Okay, so we got a couple more to do, but that's the longest one. So that one goes in there. Example 10.2. The ordering calendar is 1. Okay, so next one we'll do is the ordering calendars 2. So now we just got a couple more things. We're going to do it quickly again with a one-way data table, and we'll try it again with a two-way data table. So we're looking at different ways to approach the simulations. So go ahead and open up. Okay, so everyone's got this one, right? So I'm going to close Excel only 1. All right, and then now open up ordering calendars Excel only 2. All right, so open up that one. Give me 1 second. I'm going to use the restroom real quick, and then I'll be back in a minute, and we'll start this one. Okay, so let's. All right, so your file should look like this, and so we're basically going to do the same exercise, but we're going to do it with a data table instead of labeling the simulations manually. So it's just a different approach for the same problem. So depending on what um, method you like, you can kind of use either one. So step 12 is the one for this one. So let's just make our range names, and then let's put the formulas to calculate the values for the first simulation. Then we'll number them 1 through 1,000. Let's do this first. All right, let's first make some range names. Okay, so here we go. Ordering calendars Excel only 2. So we got to label this area the lookup table. So select, it should be set up already, but select D5 to F9, this range, and up in the name box, just call that lookup table. All right, and then let's make the same range names we had last time. So for the cost data and the order quantity, that's it. So select A4 to B6. Formulas, create from selection, left column. Okay. All right, that's unit cost, that's unit price, and that's unit refund. And let's do one for order quantity. Select A9 to B9. Formulas, create from selection, left column, OK. All right, that's order quantity. Okay, so let's put these formulas go in the range starting with B19. Okay. All right, so these are basically the same formulas as last time, so it should be clear what the logic is here. But just a little bit different because we're doing it in a data table instead of labeling them individually. So the first one, put your first formula in step 12 equals, in B19 equals. Okay, equals VLOOKUP, and then in the parentheses random with the open and close parentheses, comma lookup table, comma 2. Okay, so we just put the random function in the formula instead of doing it individually. So Excel is going to look up the random number and give us the demand next to it in column 2. So just like last time, we just put the only difference is instead of doing the random number outside the equation, we put it inside the argument. Okay, revenue in C19, this is the same formula as last time. It's equals. Okay, equals unit price times min, B19 comma order quantity. So whichever is lower, right, demand or order quantity, we get the unit price times that number. Okay, next one in D19, this is always the same. The cost is how many we order times the unit cost. Okay, equals unit cost times order quantity. So it's going to be 1,500. The refund, if we get one, is in E19, this is equals. Okay, same formula here, equals unit refund times max, and then in the parentheses order quantity minus B19 comma 0. So if we order too many, we get a refund of 250 per calendar. If not, we get 0. And then profit is the same. It's equals C19 plus E19 minus D19. Okay, equals C19 plus E19 minus D19. So it's just revenue plus refund minus cost.
Professor, what was the revenue equation again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The revenue one is equals unit price times min, the min function, and then in the parentheses B19, comma order quantity.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, So we got these ones. So this is basically our template for the simulations that we're going to do. We're going to incorporate into the data table.
I'm sorry, my demand didn't work.
Oh, so let's double check that. So let's see. So first of all, you have this. Is this range called lookup table?
It should have been. I don't know what happened. I
Oh,
don't think it was.
oh, okay. Well, let's name it again. So select D5 to F9, and then if it's not named, just up here, just call it lookup table, and hit enter.
Okay.
All right, and then that should. So when you do the demand, it should be equals VLOOKUP, and then in the parentheses rand with the open and close parentheses, comma lookup table, but make sure the lookup table value is selecting. See, is it highlighting the blue range here?
Hold on. Okay. Yeah, it is.
Okay, and then comma 2 to get demand in the second column, and if you hit enter, that should give you one of these numbers.
Okay. And then what about revenue? I'm sorry, I didn't get revenue either.
Yeah, so revenue is equals unit price times min, and then in the parentheses B19, comma order quantity.
Equals B19 order quantity. Got it.
Okay, and you got these ones?
Yes, I got those ones.
Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is set up the simulations for the data table. Okay. So let's number our replications 1 through 1,000 in A24 to A1023. Okay, so start right here, A24, so this is 1. A25 is 2. Okay, and then let's grab 1 and 2. Let's grab A24 and A25, that range, and grab the bottom right corner and start dragging it down. And just count up from 1 to 1,000 like this. Okay. All right, so you've labeled your replications 1 through 1,000 in A24 to A1023. Okay, now let's link in the profit formula. So just put equals F19 and B23. Okay, so right here, this is just equals F19. Okay, so the formula for B23 is equals F19. Enter. Okay, so then we're gonna make a data table. Okay, and we need a blank cell as the column input cell because it's just the random number generator. So C23, there's nothing in it, which is correct because we just want to choose any cell that's not being used to get a random number. So let's make a data table with C23 as the column input cell. All right, so you got to select this whole range. All right, so select, you want to have selected A23 all the way to B 1023. So this whole range has got to be selected for the data table. So what was that? A24 to B1023. or sorry, A23 to B1023. So including this part. Okay, so I have all that selected. This, all the blank cells for profit, and then all the replications. So A23 to B1023, and then let's do data, what if analysis, data table, and row input cell is blank. In the column input cell, you can put in C23, okay, which is a blank cell, which is what we want. So that's blank, and that's C23. Hit OK. And that should do it. So you should get a data table. And the data table linked in the profit calculator. And for each replication, you should get a different profit, right? And the same, you should get a bunch of 500s, negative 250s, and 125s like last time. So did that work?
Wait, sorry, what's the equation for profit, like, on the
This one?
replication? Yeah.
Equals F19. So it just pulls in. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I only got 125. Is that a problem?
It might just be that yours. So try this. If you go to formulas and if you hit the calculate now button, that might update it for you. Okay, did that do it?
Oh yeah, it worked.
Okay. Okay, so we got our profit simulations 1 through 1,000 here. Yeah. And
Wait, Professor,
yeah,
so for the column input cell, was it C23?
it was C23. Okay. Did it work?
It just says the selection is invalid for some reason.
C20. Well, C23 should be a blank cell. And so if you have your whole range selected, like this whole range? Okay, so if you got that
Sorry,
whole,
I forgot to select it.
oh yeah, so if you select A23 to B1023, right, have it all selected like here, and then try it. So try data, uh, what if analysis, data table, and then, yeah, this is blank, and that's just C23. That should do it, hopefully. Okay, did that work?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, so everyone's got the replications here, 1 through 1,000, and you should have a bunch of profits. And again, double check that the profit outcomes are 500 to negative 250 and 125. So if you're getting different numbers, then something went wrong. So you should get one of those three outcomes in all of your replications. And then let's just get well, first let's make a let's make a range for profit. And so if you want to select B24 to B1023, so everything in that range. Okay. So B24 to B1023, so everything from here down for all the simulations for profit. And let's call that up in the name box, let's call that profit. Okay, enter. And so that whole range from here all the way down is profit. And so we can get the summary stats for that range here. So in B12, you can get the average, which is just equals average. Okay, the average of profit, which is this whole range you just named. So it equals average profit. Then let's get the standard deviation. So in B13 equals STDEV profit. Okay, let's get the min. And B14 equals min profit. All right. And so that should be negative 250 like last time. And then let's get the max. And that should be 500, so equals max profit. All right, so again, based on your replications and random numbers, that's probably going to be different. That's going to be different. But make sure that your min is negative 250 and make sure that your max is 500. So these numbers should be the same. And you should also see that this was already set up over here. So it should have gave you a 95% confidence interval based on your simulations where you're 95% sure that the demand's going to be within this area. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be around like between 150 and 250 is probably or it's going to be, yeah, something like that. Okay, so we got the summary measures, and everyone got negative 250 here to check the min, and everyone got 500 to check the max, and you should get some confidence intervals, which are going to be different based on your random numbers. Okay. All right, so we got this one. Okay, and we're done with the ordering calendars 2. So you can go ahead and save that, and that goes into the discussion forum. All right, so we got one more to do real quick. All right, now let's do a two-way table and do the same analysis. All right, so let's open up quickly ordering calendars, Excel only 3. Okay, so you should see something like this. Let's set up so we got ordering calendars Excel only 3. Okay, let's set up the range names. So make sure this name or this range, select D5 to F9, and let's call that lookup table. Open the name box. Okay, let's give a range name to the cost data. So select A4 to B6, and then formulas, create from selection, left column. Okay, and let's give a range name for order quantity. So select A9 to B9, and then formulas, create from selection, left column. Okay, so just double check formulas, name manager. You got lookup table, order quantity, unit cost, unit price, and unit refund. Okay, and make sure that's lookup table up there. All right, so basically same formulas. We're putting these formulas in B19 to F19. Okay, starting here, in step 13, just type in those 5 formulas that are the same ones, all right? So B19 equals okay, so same thing here. In B19 equals V lookup, rand, open and close parentheses, comma lookup table, comma 2, and that should give you one of the demands. For revenue in C19, same thing, equals okay, equals unit price times min B19 comma order quantity. So whichever one is the lowest, multiply that by the unit price. All right, cost is the same in D19 equals all right, equals unit cost times order quantity. You should get 1500. Refund, same thing in E19 equals okay, equals unit refund times max order quantity minus B19 comma 0. Okay, so if you order too many, you get a refund of 250 per calendar. And then profit, same thing here in the yellow cell. Equals C19 plus E19 minus D19. Okay, revenue plus refund minus cost. All right, so here you should get either negative 250, 125, or 500. One of those same outcomes. All right. So everybody good so far? And then we just got to do all we got to do now is do the big data table, and then get the summaries and make a little chart. And then we're done. So right here in A23, the formula is equals F19. Okay, so in A23, just type in equals F19, hit enter. All right, so the profit calculator goes right there. And then we're now going to make a big two-way data table by selecting this whole area that's already set up to see what happens when we order different amounts of 100 through 300. So if you want to select this whole range, okay, A23 all the way to J1023. So make sure you select that whole range. A23, okay, A23 to J1023. All right, and then we're doing a data table. So data, what if analysis, data table. The row input cell is B9. Okay, that's for order quantity. And the column input cell, just put in B10 because we want a blank cell. Okay, so row input cell is B9, column input cell is B10, and hit OK. And that should give you a bunch of associated profits. All right, so based on these order quantities in the simulations, and if it didn't calculate, just hit the formulas, calculate now. Okay, but that should work. So did we get the data table with all the different profits here? Okay. So a couple more things. So what we want to do here is just get the summary. So what was the average profit when we ordered 100? What was the average profit when we ordered 125, and so on? So all I got to do is here in B14, just type in equals average. Okay, average of B24 all the way to B1023. All right, so equals average B24 to B1023. So the average of everything under 100. Enter. And this one, let's do the same. So in B15 equals STDEV of the same range, B24 to B1023. Okay, enter. And then we should be able just to drag over these formulas to get the other ranges. So if you select B14 and B15, just grab the bottom right corner and drag it over like this. And that should do the same calculations for the appropriate range for 125 all the way to 300. So see how this one did it for 300? Okay, so did that work? Did we get an average profit and a standard deviation for each of the possible order quantities from the simulation? Okay. All right. Last thing, and we're almost done. So we just want to make a clustered column of average profit versus order quantity. So all you got to do is choose this area, B13 to J14, and do so B13 to J14, and then do insert, recommended charts. We want this one, clustered column. Hit OK. All right, and then let's do the stuff we normally do. So just click on the chart and do plus sign, no chart title, axes titles. Okay, this is average profit.
Wait, Professor?
Yes.
I got all negative numbers for the average profits. So is
Oh.
that normal?
No, because yeah, the lower one shouldn't be negative. So I'll have to look at yours in a second. Okay, and then the axes titles. So sorry, this is average profit, and this is order quantity. Okay, and last thing here, you can, if you want, you can move this down again. Click on the x-axis, right-click it, format axes, and then where it says labels, open that up, and you can change the label position to low. Okay, so you got your different order quantities and the average profit associated with that. And then last thing, let's just see what was our best option here. So if you highlight this area, B14 to J14, and just do conditional formatting, top bottom rules, top 10 items, and then just we want the top one. Okay. Okay, so this time it looks like based on this analysis, ordering 125 calendars gave me the highest average profit, and your outcome might be different. You might have got 150 or 175, but it's probably one of those three. So what I would conclude here is that ordering 125 calendars was the best option because that gave me the highest average profit. Okay, and you confirm that over here in the chart. Okay, so we're done with this one. All right, so sorry I went over a few minutes. So this one's done, and those three ordering calendars, Excel only 1, 2, and 3, go into the discussion forum. If you're done, you can go ahead and post it, and that's it for today. If you want, if you need me to help you with a few things, if you want to post that one, I'll take a look and see why you got all the negative numbers. If you have a few minutes. Okay, so if you're done with the assignments, that's it for today, and thanks for joining, and have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you Wednesday morning. If you want me to look at some things and try to help you finish anything, because I went through that last one a little quick, happy to stay and help you if you need to get a few more things done. So please post something, or please stick around if you need help. And if you're done, you're good to go. And thank you for joining this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So Derek, you want me to look at yours?
I need you to look at mine. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the one. Yeah.
This is Raymond, not Derek.
Oh, sorry. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Look well. Oh, Derek's gone. Okay. I guess I thought he did. All right. So. Oh, is this yours? It looks like you did it right. So you got negative numbers here? All right, so this is mine. Let me close this one. And so this is yours, right, Raymond?
Yeah.
I think it looks good. I mean, so you got negative numbers here. That's it. But the averages, so these ones look, yeah, it looks like you did it right. because if you order too many, you can get a negative average profit. But yeah, I thought you meant you got all negatives, but it looks
I don't. The average profit was all negatives at first. I don't know what happened. I think it like
oh
fixed.
okay. Well, I opened it up and it
No.
looks. Did it fix on yours?
Yeah.
Okay, and then just so you got the chart, and you can format that if you want, but just go ahead and select this area, and we'll see what your highest average profit is. So if you select B14 to J14 and just do conditional formatting, top bottom rules, top 10, and drag or just hit the arrow till it goes to the top one, and hit OK. And it looks like yours might be different because of the random numbers, but uh, it looks like 150 gave you the highest average profit, or whatever. One of these is probably 125 or 150 or 175.
Oh, okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
did you get one of those?
Yeah, I got.
Okay, 150?
Yeah, I got 150.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's it. You're welcome.